Welcome back to the ARCA Zoom cast. I'm Casey Campbell alongside ARCA PR Director Charlie Krall as we get ready for Elko. But first, before we get to Elko, how was Berlin?
Yeah, another great race. I love when we go to these short tracks, Casey, and we have these good long stretches of green flag racing. It really gives the an opportunity for the drivers to work their, see how their race cars are working. And you run 75 plus laps, and you see a driver build up an advantage, and all of a sudden that advantage disappears in the last handful of laps, and before you know it, you got a lead change with just 2 laps to go. So I'm super bummed for Jesse Love. I'm a big Jesse Love fan. I've had the privilege of watching him race since he was 15 years old. So I'm bummed for him, but I'm thrilled for William Swalich to get his first win. I know that there was a little bit of a disagreement over how much bumper was used on that pass there with a couple to go, but I'll let the drivers work that out amongst themselves. But in any case, a thrilling finish for the fans, a great crowd on hand. We're ready to move up the road and go to Elko.
Yeah, of course. And this is, this is a race, the land of 10,000 lakes, and looking at just all this racing going on. You got Elko coming up. What's it going to be like going there?
Well, it's the shortest racetrack we go to, Casey, so it's going to be close quarters racing. I think what we saw, at Flat Rock with the East race, I think what we saw at Berlin last week, I think you can expect very much the same. Full contact racing on a very tight, very fast racetrack. So wouldn't be surprised if we see some tempers at some point in time rear their head there. We've seen it in the past, and it's just kind of what happens when you put all these these big heavy race cars on a tight little short track like that.
Yeah. Haven't had a chance to get your reaction to this yet. I know that Greg Van Elst is not going to be racing as much with you guys as he said he would, but it's I know it's tough to see him go, but what's your reaction to all that?
Well, it is tough to see him go. I've gotten to know Greg pretty well here the last couple of years, and I think he is a wonderful human being, first and foremost. I don't think you will find anybody who works harder to come out and be a race car driver than he does. He owns his own business, and builds and maintains his own race cars, built his own race shop. Has a small dedicated group of volunteers and friends that come and work on that race car with them, along with crew chief Jim Long, and just a fantastic human being. I really do miss seeing him there at Berlin, and hopefully we'll see him a few times before the year's over with. But I'm super proud of him. I shared probably the most memorable moment of my racing career with him when I poked my head in his car on his way to victory lane there at Daytona. Not going to share that with you because it's probably not PG rated, but just an incredible guy. I'm so happy for him that he's going to get a shot to do at least one Xfinity Series race with Alpha Prime. That makes us, really proud of him, as well as a company and a sanctioning body. That's exactly what we're here to do. Is we're here to help elevate guys like that into other opportunities. And we hate to see him go. And we hate to see him sitting at home on some of these weekends, but it's an expensive game, and he's got some long-term plans that we'll let him talk about somewhere down the road. But in any case, super proud of him, and hope we do get to see him back here before too long.
Yeah. We'll talk about Elko this weekend. Only I believe 18 cars are heading there this week, but overall, obviously you'd like to have a few more cars, but it's still pretty good, right?
I'll tell you what, 18 cars at a place like Elko, it's going to be a pretty busy racetrack. It's a tiny little joint, and with the speed differential that we'll have between the fat guys up front and some of the guys towards the back, it'll be a busy race. And yeah, we'd like to have a few more, but the 18 that are going to be there, especially those top 10 or 12, I think are going to put on a pretty decent show.
Yeah. I know the series is working each and every day to go out and find more drivers and find more. Any updates on that?
No, man, we're always shaking the trees to see who wants to come and play race car with us. And, we've seen some interest in the East Series. We've got a very healthy, group of regulars out West. And, we've got a pretty healthy group of regulars, that follow us each and every week here in the ARCA Menard Series as well. We just, we'd like to get a few more, but no real updates there.
Okay. Also, I know that home base had a little bit of a rough stretch in the beginning of at the end of last week with the tornadoes in the Toledo area. I know Toledo Speedway got a little bit of well, I might as well just have you update on that.
Right. So thankfully for us, the tornado that touched down kind of skipped over us. I believe it bounced from the old Toledo Raceway Park, which actually was where, car racing in Toledo began way back in the 1940s, at least in North Toledo. I believe it touched down over there first. There's a lot of wind damage over there, and then it bounced over the racetrack area and then came back down over just to the east of the racetrack. And there's a lot of damage. One building was blown apart, unfortunately. But thankfully, I have yet to hear of any injuries, no fatalities. It was an EF2 tornado, which is on the 0 to 5 scale, towards the 0 end versus the 5 end. But still there was a lot of damage there in a neighborhood very close to us. A lot of trees blown down, power was out. We got next to no damage. A couple of porta johns blown over, and the trash cans in the infield were blown all over the place. But other than that, we really got away with it. Very, very fortunate. And we're able to have the 500 Sprint Car Tour on hand with us on Sunday, along with the Midwest Modifieds, and really good crowd on Father's Day. And we're looking ahead now on the Toledo Speedway side to the USAC Silver Crown race coming up on August 5th.
Yeah, and no damage to ARCA HQ, if I'm not mistaken.
That tornado was probably 6 miles away from our office building.
Okay. Yeah, so it should be fun this weekend. And first off, thank goodness for all that, and thoughts to everyone affected.
Yeah, I mean that's the most important part, is no one was hurt, and there's some people who will have some rebuilding to do, but most importantly, no injuries. And regardless of the race car stuff, that's really what's most important, is people getting out of there and no injuries.
Yeah.
And the real fortunate part, Casey, is that building that was destroyed was a commercial building, and if that tornado struck 2 hours earlier, that building would have been full of people. And to have it hit at dinner time when that building was empty, man, just absolutely just you never want to see it happen, but if it's got to happen, have it happen when that building was empty, because it was pretty scary to see that video.
For sure. But overall, and of course, this weekend at Elko, a lot of guys will be out there. Of course, this is also the home race for William Sawalich, so I know that there's a lot of things going on with him this weekend.
Going for 2 in a row. Yeah, going for 2 in a row. So we're going to keep him busy. He's got a Menard store appearance, and sure he's going to have a ton of people in the grandstands watching him go after it. So we'll see how he does with a bunch of people in the stands pulling for him. I think he'll be just fine. But yeah, it's going to be a big weekend for William.
Probably the same amount of people that were at Frankie Muniz's hauler at the end of the Berlin race.
Well, it's when you get a Hollywood superstar, that's what happens.
Yeah. I gotta talk about that. What was that like to see him at one of the short trips out there?
Why don't you tell me what it was like, Casey?
It was amazing.
I'm used to seeing it.
It was pretty cool. I will say that. That was fun to see him out there, and just one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet.
So I'm gonna just editorialize on Frankie for a moment, and I've been really fortunate in my career, Casey, that I've gotten to know a lot of these guys. Folks like Michael Waltrip and Tony Stewart, and I'm really fortunate to have been around some of these guys when they're at the peak of their career, and some of them when they're at the beginning stages of their career. And I have been so impressed with Frankie Muniz as a human being, for one. just one of the nicest individuals I think you'll ever come across. You know, he obviously has a lot of demands on his time, from fans and just other other business that he's got going on. He's always in a good mood. He's always open and willing to chat for a few moments. I know he has made friends with a lot of the drivers, from the Cup Series on down to our level here at the ARCA Menard Series. And on top of that, he absorbs all of this stuff like a sponge. He takes in everything that he sees on the race car side, not only from the cockpit, but from simulators and watching film and, just everything. You can tell when you get to know him just the slightest little bit, he really wants to do this. And it's important to him. It's not just something that he wanted to come out and try. It's not like, oh, hey, I'd like to go jump out of an airplane. Right, I'd like to jump out of an airplane sometime, but it's once you do that once, you're kind of done with it. This is something he wants to do, and he wants to succeed at it, and it's a passion for him, and you can feel that when you get to know him. And I've made mention of this on social media a couple of times, but I'm so impressed with him as a human being and as a race car driver. And it's been a lot of fun to watch, and it's been a lot of fun to get to know him, because I think he's just a fantastic dude. And regardless of what his success level is as a driver, he's certainly a winner as a human being. He really, really is. He's just a great guy, and I'm really happy that we have him, because he does. He brings he brings eyeballs, but most importantly, he brings a great attitude. And it's really infectious, and it's a lot of fun to be around him.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we got another race this weekend. Elko Speedway, 9 p.m. on FS2. My programming note, it'll be on FS2 this week.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, Charlie, you have fun out in the land of 10,000 lakes, and we will talk to you next week as we preview Irwindale for the ARCA Menard Series West.